I'm Rick.
Are you after 72?
I'm Rick. I was on the crew that we've all been talking about in Malta way back then. My first ever tour. So, you know, similar to Jim Alexander's comment about Ernie was the example. And that's how it was with me. You know, I remember Ernie from my first ever flight tour, and the number one man. That's the way. But these messages are from John Cox. I'm going to read out, so I should read them as I see them. Ernie, I'm sure you'll remember the fancy dress party at your house at Ballycally where you led me completely astray. I went as a Roman soldier with my friends Mike Greatorex and Mike Rowley, dressed as ancient Britain slaves, complete with woad, and tied to me by a rope. After the party, the three of us, very much aware, found a bulldozer behind the mess. It was there for works to mess in preparation for Princess Margaret and Anthony Armstrong Jones' visit due shortly. Greatorex got the bulldozer going and drove around a bit, eventually destroying PM's copper tubing for her new week WC and running over the mess grounds with the blade down. All the specially laid turf. The three of us were in deep S. All Ernie's fault. The other story he will remember was the endurance flight with Captain Bill. We set out to break the record for length of flight in a Shackleton, 24 hours and 36 minutes, I think. We took a skeleton crew and stripped out all non-essential equipment, including the radar, I think. We landed at Kinloss for reasons I can't remember, though the last stages of the flight were at quite low level because of low cloud base and no radar. We broke the record at 24 hours 36 minutes. No one was ever daft enough to want to try to do better, so it still stands for what it is worth. Can't remember why we went into Kinloss, perhaps Ballycally was mired to the weather. A fresh crew came over and flew us back to BK. Another story, I reckon Ernie would also have been the co-pilot when we set off from Ballycally in that dead of night to head out to the North Sea off Aberdeen to be on task at first light to look for the crew of a trawler, the Daisy, from Peterhead, which had sunk. Terrible weather. One of my lads, Reg Rowe, the famous Reg Rowe, in the crew pic, which I think was taken after that sortie, said he thought he saw something. Captain Bill called for flame floats to be dropped to mark the spot, but we never saw anything else. Nevertheless, the Norwegian research vessel, the Nella Dan, diverted to our position and found the crew in their dinghy. The Scottish Daily Express arranged a party for us and the crew and their families up at Kinloss. A hell of a party. You'd better believe it. Next morning we took off from Kinloss and showed the Peterhead fishermen what the underside of a Shackleton looks like close up. Captain Bill loved low flying. I'm not sure, there's something else. This is. And wouldn't Ernie have been our co-pilot? We went to Jamaica to fly hurricane relief sorties into British Honduras after Hurricane Hattie had devastated the place. We were there for, I think, 6 weeks. Kingston, Jamaica to British Guyana to collect stores, and then another crew would take them on to British Honduras. One day when we got to BH, an army captain came on board and said, "Never mind the labels on the boxes you bought. Which ones contain the contraceptives?" When we got back, we all arranged a squadron party in which several of us did various acts, mostly with the West Indian theme, for the amusement of all. I think it was after this detachment that one of our AEOs, Roger Knight, I think, got home a first floor flat in Coleraine, I think, opened the ground floor entrance door and shouted up the stairs, "I'm home, darling. Got them off, get them off." Unfortunately, Darling was having a coffee with other officers' wives. We had lots of fun, and the aircraft was a terrible and towards the end dangerous beast. And Ballycally really was beyond the outer limits of civilization. John Cox.